first job there was garmage. So one of my first jobs was every day I had to load the cheese cart. So I had the cheeses that I wrapped from the night before, 52 of them. I had to know what they were without a tag. I had to taste them, take a little wedge, taste them to make sure they were all right, not ammoniated, recut them, and then place them all on the cheese cart, and then make all the garnishes for it. So before service had even started, I had taken 52 bites of French unpasteurized cheese, and I got the shits so many times for the first 3 weeks. They call it the French flu. They're like, "Oh, Tyler, how was your night? How was your morning this morning?" I'm like, "Fuck you guys!" Like bloated the entire time.
Okay, so it gives you gas.
Yeah,
it gives
and
you diarrhea.
I learned to start spitting it out, but still at that point, you'd already taken in a lot of bacteria. Yeah, but so my body got used to it, and here we are.
52 pieces.
52 cheeses every day.
Oh my God, you must have been doubled over. All right, the season 2 episode. I'm here with Chef Tyler Anderson. What's up, buddy?
Hi.
So thank you for coming. I know we've been trying to get you on for a million years, and you're one of my very, very good friends and a longtime friend. And we have, as you know, a variety of people on here, right? From chefs to lawyers to people, journalists. And so I thought a lot about what I was going to talk to you about, because I've talked to you about so much already. We've traveled together before I had kids. I know you've had kids for a long time, but traveling and eating and but I think we need to do a little background about you. I know a lot about your background, but I don't know if it's ever been sort of discussed, even on all the media stuff you did. No, he talks about growing up in California, right, and all of that. So hoping to talk a little bit about that, and also then talk about a little bit about the theme. And you've listened to the podcast before. It's "I'll call my guy," right? And that's like the nature of relationships. And what I'm fascinated with chefs,
the nature of you,
this nature of me, yeah. Right? Yeah, for sure. So it's all about me.
Your podcast is certainly authentic.
It is authentic, but more importantly, what I'm interested in is, and I want to talk about this after we talk a little bit about your background, is. And I talked a little bit about Ashley, who your executive chef at Millwright, is the nature of a relationship as a chef with people out in the dining room, right? That's a relationship, right? It's not like a relationship like a husband and wife, but you're forming a relationship with them as a customer who's eating your food. And it's a very interesting relationship to me, because it's not like one where you and I have a relationship. We go out, we text each other, we share experiences, those kinds of things. Here, you're providing them with a enjoyment, with food, with something that makes them happy, and how you hope, yeah. Right? But I'm saying, but without maybe any direct feedback. You may get a bad review or a good review, or they'll come back in terms of their showing their loyalty and their service. But to me, that's such a fascinating thing. Maybe we can just jump right into that, about the ability. How do you build a relationship with somebody that you don't even see, or you may not even talk to? So let's just jump right into that, because I think I don't want to shift from that.
That's certainly the first time I've been asked this question in my life. It's a good one. I would say number one, they have to trust you, right? They're putting it's an honor that people trust you enough as a chef to put something you're preparing into their body.
That's true.
Right. There's not many other people that do that, provide that service.
Except for a doctor, right?
Yeah, a doctor's obviously more serious.
No, right. But when you go to a doctor and you say, okay, I need the vaccine for pneumonia or whatever, the guy goes out in the other room, brings something in, puts it in you, you're like, I don't ask to see the label, right? I just assume that he's putting the right thing in and doing that. So right, but so that's a very intimate thing. But right, when you go out to if I just walk into McDonald's, I'm trusting that they're gonna prepare something that's safe and tasty, and hopefully.
And then number two, more in restaurants like I have, people are trusting you with their special occasions.
Right.
So the last thing in the world that I want to do is fuck up somebody's
right.
special
You don't
occasion.
want to fuck that
No.
up.
Not only because it's horrible for my business, but also that's a horrible feeling as a human to know you fucked up somebody's special occasion.
Right. So how do you then make this shift from your whole life you have relationships with your mom, your dad, your brothers, sisters, friends, and then you're in a kitchen, and even if let's say you're just a line chef, you may have more active role as you become, maybe you have a smaller restaurant, or you go out and you work the crowd, people want to talk to you and all that. But let's say you're just a sous, or you're a line chef, working a fish station at Millwright's. How does they're building a relationship. In a sense, obviously, the relationship, in my view, that if they go to Millwright's, they're building the relationship with Millwright's.
Right.
Right, the name, right? What is Millwright's going to do for me? It's giving me, every time I go there, the service is on point. It's the food's delicious, it's hot, it's inventive, it's interesting, and the whole experience is good. So, but the people, but again, you may not see 95% of the people ever, and yet you're building that relationship.
Right.
So how does it what I would think is the quality, right, is the way to build the relationship, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge disconnect too when you're a line cook. So I was a line cook for 20 years
Right.
before I
So
was
you've
ever
done
a
that,
chef.
paying your dues.
So, you're missing this connection. You are. You don't even really see what you're doing as something that is going to people. Like, you're so focused on you and you're so focused on the four walls of the kitchen. And I'm still like that, like down deep. Like, I'm not like walking the dining room. I hate doing that.
I know. I always see you and you're always just like,
I like to hide in the kitchen, and I like to do. I'm not shy, as you know.
Yes.
But I just don't feel like I'm special.
Well, you
and I
got
don't
to.
feel
Well, you
like-
got to get pulled out there. I always see that about you.
If somebody wants to say hi to me, I'm absolutely going to go out and say hi. I absolutely will do that. But I don't love, like, I'm not that guy. Like, if I was going to be that guy, I would have been a server and not a cook, and I would have been making a hell of a lot of money than I made when I was a kid, right? So there's a huge disconnect. But one of my chefs told me one time. She said, pretend you're cooking every dish you cook for your mom.
Oh,
And
interesting.
like that resonated with a line cook, right? Like, it's like, pretend each dish you put up is for somebody special in your life, whoever it is, mom, dad, girlfriend, whoever you love, and that helped me connect the two.
Oh, I see. Right. So then the quality of the product you put out is good, and then that person will receive it and say, "Oh my God, this is a delicious piece of meat or a delicious dish."
It also just helps you remember that you're cooking for a human, right? Like, because as a line cook, you disconnect from the fact that even a human is consuming. What
Really,
you're eating.
that happens.
You're so focused. Like, your focus has to be so intense. Like, when I walk into a restaurant for service, a kitchen restaurant for service, I'm like a different human being. And I'm me during prep, but we have to, like, the intensity of what you're focused on, where you're trying to serve, 300 people a night, 200 people a night, doing tasting menus for 60 people, doing like a party that's going on upstairs. The focus that needs to be there, you don't even put a human face behind it.
Interesting. Okay. So then, so for you, I do see you sometimes when you go out. I've seen you in action and down here. People want to see you. They've seen you on TV. They see, you have some local celebrity, right? You're on different shows, and people like that. They say, "Oh, I want to see that guy I saw on TV." And you know the power of TV. It's incredible. Like, I remember I've been on TV for, representing people that kill their wives and things like that. Which is
really nice stuff.
Nice stuff.
When I see you on TV, I know it's always something very sweet.
I stay away from the TV now. But the point is that that TV brings you like instant credibility, right? Like, he must know something. He must be good. And there is some truth to that, because you wouldn't be. The TV also wants to bring people that play at a certain level, and they know that you can deliver, and so they associate that. But there's also like a celebrity function of it for you. You were on these shows, and they're like, "Oh, like, I saw Tyler. I want to meet the guy. I saw him on TV." Like, that's a cool thing, right? So they want to see you. So I see you go out there sometimes, and you're always very nice to people. But I know you as opposed to me, if I had a restaurant, I'd be out working all those tables.
Right.
Like, I'd be a great front of the house guy.
You would.
Like Steve Abrams.
You would.
I love that. Like, go out and we're working. "Hey, Jim, how's the wife?" Like, "Oh, give him a pat on the back."
Like Rondo, like Vera.
Like Vera Rondo, like that guy. I love that. Like, and that be a host, and that's a certain skill that you have to have that in you, right? You can't be an introvert and do that. You have to, it would kill you, right? If you have to do
and
it.
like, I'm not an introvert, right? Like,
No.
so I can get out and do it. The issue truly is, I don't want to just be out there interrupting people's meals. I'm a kitchen employee. Like, obviously I oversee everything, whatever. But like, at the end of the day, when it comes down to service, if I'm in the restaurant, I would want, as a diner, I would want me to be in the kitchen, right? I would and that's just how I feel. I realize that people want to see it or whatever, but like, I don't need that. Like, that's not what fuels my fire. But like, it's very nice to see that people want to be there because they saw something on TV. And I like to thank the guests for coming in to eat, because that's the most important
that's the most important thing. But I also think I do love it in a restaurant when somebody comes by and says, "Hey, thanks for coming in. Like, I'm the manager or whatever. How was your meal? How can we make it better for you?" Like, I love that. Whereas, Sarah hates that shit. I don't talk to anybody. Put my head down, and I'm like, no. Like, I want them to come over. I want to know, like, "Oh my God, thank you. It's great." Like, I was just at a restaurant that serves lots of oysters in town here. Yeah. It was funny because I know one of the servers, and Julie and I went to talk about the second season of the podcast, and I ordered a lobster roll. We wanted a lobster roll because we got inspired. We're having Emily McGrone on.
Oh, nice.
Her, she has Fairhaven Oyster Company. And apparently the best lobster roll in Connecticut. And she also does a cold one too, which I'm hesitant about. But she doesn't use mayo. She uses creme fraiche.
Okay.
So I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we said, well, let's go get lobster roll. So we go there, and I'm eating my lobster roll, and there's a shell in it. I spit it out, and I'm like, oh, fuck. So I tell Lauren, the lady who I know there forever, she's a server, she's like, she brings it there, and the manager comes out, and he's like, oh, my God, I'm sorry. Of course, she went in the back and said, the local lawyer. I'm like, and I'm not looking to hurt anybody. I said, look, just give me a fucking another lobster roll.
Right.
So he brings out another lobster roll. I'm halfway through that one. There's another cartilage from the knuckle. So I said to the guy, oh, my God, like, what are you doing? So anyhow, he came out. He's very apologetic, and it was just look. That's not a rebuke on the whole restaurant. There's one guy in there who was probably out of it that day, and he wasn't careful. You know, they were great, and they really came at later when the second one came, and they comped part of the bill and all of that. And it was really nice that somebody really took an interest and said, "Look, we're very sorry." And things happen, right? I'm not going to go crush them on there. I mean, their food is good there, and I like it, and we go there all the time, but. I like the fact that somebody interacted with me and checked out. Now, normally, if I'm just there and Julie and I were just going for a burger or something, I don't need to have a manager come over and see how I am. But I do like that element of that relationship in a restaurant. To me, that builds a connection with me. Now, I know other people don't want to be bothered. They just want good food and good service, and they want to get the heck out of there. How do you assess, in terms of in your restaurants, do you make that up? Do you just let that happen naturally, or do you send AJ or somebody around to do that?
Right. So. I mean, we've all been to the more chain restaurants where it's like you realize that that's the manager and he's going to every table and he's like, "How is everything?" And then he misses like the marker that he was supposed to have that let us know that let him know that we were a table that was finished, and then he'll come back and be like, "How was it? How is everything, folks?" And we're like, "Oh, we're done. Nice talking to you again." Not genuine, not authentic.
That's right. It feels weird.
So. At the end of the night at a lot of restaurants, like the manager will say, "Did I touch every table? Did I touch?"
Right.
Like fuck that.
Right.
Like touch the tables that you think need to be touched. It's like sometimes you want intrusions, right, and sometimes you don't. And so it's about teaching a team. And we have an amazing GM, and we've had amazing GMs, Vanessa Tosi. Now it's Dylan. Who know the difference, right? So there's a difference between people who want to engage and people who want to be fucking left alone.
And you have to
and you have to be able to see it, know it, and feel it. So at the end of the day, sometimes you do miss some people who wanted to engage. But I would always rather do that in my restaurants than engage with somebody who didn't.
I think you're right. That's the good call, right? Because other people be like, "Oh, this feels off," but if you do hit with a person who loves it, they love it.
It's
right?
all right.
Right, and then. You could bring them some bubbly or something, and, or you see them as a regular. One of the things, tell me about this, Alex McDonald from Luna. He had a very interesting thing to me, and he was like, he had an interesting take on so-called regulars, and he was saying is regulars are anything but regular. It's irregular to be a regular, but it's just true, right? Because it's weird. You just go and you want the same thing, and you come all the time, and so he pays very special attention to them. Yeah. But it's sort of funny how he said that, and it made me think about that. It's like, yeah, that is irregular, like because most people. Don't come in for the thing, the same thing and order the same thing every time. Do you have folks like that?
No, I mean
that order the same thing that come all the time.
I don't know because the menu changes all of the time.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like nothing ever is. I mean, there's a couple items that you can really
chicken and dumplings.
Yeah, you know are going to be there. But at the end of the day, our menu change. I mean, Luna is like great pizza, but it's obviously a totally different thing.
Right.
Like ordering pizza, I am so habitual when I order pizza. When people come to Millwrights, they're not coming because it's a habit. Right, so it's not.
No, but they come. They still.
We do have regulars who come often,
but they'll eat different things on the menu.
They'll eat different things,
right? But there is, I think Ashley mentioned like she called it like the Millwright staples, like the chicken and dumplings, the burger,
beef tartare,
the wings. Yeah, you've had those since day one.
Yeah. I mean, we had the clam chowder tapioca on for a very long time, and then I took it off.
That was the Beef Bobby Flay one.
Yeah, and like the menu is Ashley's now. Ashley and Kristen run that menu there.
That's
and
what
it's
she
like
said,
at a certain point, like I just knew that I could trust Ashley. Like is amazing.
Oh my God.
Kristen run an amazing team, so it's like shit. Like, take it.
So, are you there much anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I'm there at least 4 days a week. Not many nights, to be honest with you. I'm trying to catch up on family time I lost from when I was working a billion hours a week. Also, we're working on a couple new things, so I'm very involved in the conception of those, and then there's Orhill and Swift, so I'm in Litchfield 1 or 2 nights a week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So are you doing do you ever work the pass again, like at the Millwrights? No, you haven't done. When's the last time you worked a pass?
Last time I worked up passes, I worked a pass all summer at Orhill and Swift.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. When I got to get something going until the chef is comfortable and the crew is. I don't like to come in and step on a chef's toes, right? So my feeling is if I can trust Ashley enough to run my kitchen, then there's no way I would ever go around her and have her team doing something different. And to me that gets really confusing with an owner who's a chef who hires a chef. right? To me, that dynamic can get really fucked up because the owner, who's the chef, keeps coming in and telling the cooks something that's different than the chef. And to me, if you're doing that, you're undercutting an executive chef.
That's right. So you have to either go all in or not.
That's my feeling.
I think you're right, though, right? Because otherwise you come in and you're like, well, what's the message? Who do I listen to? Who's my leader?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's like my job is more to support. Like I'm there. Like if you're like literally if you're down a grill cook and you need me to work the grill, I'll work the meat station. I'll do like whatever. Doesn't happen often, but like whatever she needs, right? Like so I'm there in support. Obviously, it's full picture at the restaurant. There's the Talk You piece that we're going to be rolling out this summer, which is something.
Is that coming back to Millwright?
Yeah, it's coming back to Millwright. I do all the guest chef dinners. I handle all the special catering. I'm at Orhill and Swift, and like Ashley and Dylan hold it down, and Kristen hold it down at Millwright's. I'm there a lot, but not for service.
And so, just so the listeners who may not know Chef Talk, the pass is where all the food ends up before it goes to the customer.
Right.
Right.
So it's where it's finished. It's where the chef. It's where the chef at Millwright's gets the final. Like they can see it. Right. So food never leaves the Millwright's kitchen without Ashley seeing it.
Right. It's assembled. She's there. She cleans it off, maybe with a clean rag. What do you call those little rags you guys wrap
little
up?
white.
Little white.
Yeah,
make sure it's plated perfectly, and then it's loaded up onto a tray. You get a runner. The runner takes it out.
Yep.
Right. So everything goes through the pass.
The pass. Yeah.
Right. That's right. And that's really at any sort of restaurant or fine dining establishment. There's a pass.
A lot of them. Yeah.
Right. Right. As opposed to short order cook who would just put it up there and then the waitress takes it.
Yeah. The idea is obviously so that the chef sees it all.
Right.
Or the sous chef.
Right, the sous chef, they see it all. They make sure it looks the way it looks. They can see if it's cooked properly, and they can get it out. Interesting. So, Orhill is a project you have in Litchfield. That's a tasting only.
Yeah, Orhill's tasting menu only.
Tasting menu only. And who's your chef?
No, I'm sorry. It's not tasting menu only. It's prefix only.
Oh, prefix only.
So you can do a prefix that's 3 courses with a bunch of special treats, or you can do a tasting menu, yeah.
Okay.
So the chef there is Ryan Connolly. Ryan and I worked for, so I lost a chef when I first took over, so I ran Orhill and Swift for the first 6 months.
You were actually
full-time,
Oh,
baby.
God.
Yeah, executive chef, full-time.
And then driving back to West Hartford?
Yeah, every night.
Oh,
so
God.
hour and 15 minutes there, hour and 15 minutes back. But, you got to do what you got to do. And, the place is stunningly beautiful, and I just wanted to see it do well. And so, it was a pleasure to have to do. It was, no big deal. And it rekindled a fire, and it was awesome to be able to do it.
And who built that menu?
Originally?
That now. Or is that Ryan's menu now?
Yeah, so so obviously when Ryan took over, it was my menu, and then we slowly weaned it away, and now it's 90% Ryan. So Ryan's awesome. Ryan came from the Winvion. Ryan worked for Chris Eddy for 5 years, who's obviously an amazing chef.
And Ashley worked there too.
And Ashley worked there too. Yeah, Chris Eddy just trains him and feeds him to me, and I turn him into chef.
But you know what I learned about Ashley though? You know who Ashley got her start with? You know this story?
Yeah.
Billy.
Yeah.
Billy. I mean, Billy is
anybody who's ever worked for Billy, I'm for any period. If you've worked for Billy for a year or more, I will hire you. Almost no questions asked. Yeah,
right. Because he's amazing, right?
And he's there, right? He's highly involved.
Right. He's not a guy that's just like some of these celebrity chef people who just have a restaurant and they license the name out.
Right.
They get in the beginning and say, this is what works.
He's there, and there are things in the middle, right? So there are things. I'm in the middle.
You're in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
But Billy's there every day. Thankfully Billy gets to travel a lot now, and that's also amazing for him. And that just started.
But you also are very involved. You go there, you taste the food. It's not like you just license it out and say, "Give me a piece of the pie." You look at everything. You look at the numbers. You manage the stuff. And you make sure that you taste the food and make sure it's good.
Yeah. The final ideas come from me. Except Ashley and Kristen, they run the food.
They run the food, right? So but because Billy is, Billy's in there sometimes. I mean, he's working the line, he's running around.
Yeah, he's no joke. He is a true chef.
He's a true chef, and his food is. You and I've talked about this. That's the best restaurant around, right?
It's the most. Okay, so it's my favorite restaurant.
I think so. I think
it's my favorite restaurant.
It's the most, and it's consistently good.
I was not fortunate to live across the street from there for 3 years, and I gained 25 fucking pounds.
I know you'd walk over there. Where are you? You're like, I'm at Brico.
COVID.
You're like, I'm like known as meatballs.
So Brico to me is this combination of a restaurant that's so special because it's the restaurant you want in your neighborhood. It's the restaurant, and that's why it's my favorite, because it was across the street from me, and
literally across the street.
Literally across the street. I could see it from my backyard.
I thought you look over, you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna go get some.
And the level of consistency, right, is fantastic. And I told Billy this the other day. I said I've probably eaten at Brico over 200 times, and in that time, I've never had anything that wasn't good. But I've had things that were amazing, right? And it's the same dishes I order pretty much all the time. And I told Billy, you know what? When it's amazing, you weren't always there.
That's right. Well, it's Oscar or one of those other guys.
I mean, his team is fabulous. He's done a great job of doing that.
And he's got people 25 years, 15 years.
Yeah. The consistency of that restaurant is something very, very
What's your order at Brico?
I'm like meatballs usually, the kale salad.
Oh, yeah.
The chicken Milanese.
Oh, that's what I get. I
Yeah,
love
if
that.
I'm going
But I
for
get
it.
the extra sauce though. You got to put that lemon sauce on
if
it.
I'm trying to like watch my weight, it's
fuck
the
that.
roast chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Or I mean,
The cedar plank
everything is
salmon?
good. The salmon's
Oh, my
delicious.
gosh.
Yeah, the salmon's my daughter's
The
favorite.
rigatoni bolognese.
So good. Every pasta's delicious. It's always good.
And he always, and his now he's got this killer social media too. Do you see his social
Yeah,
media?
he's blowing up. And
All he does
and
is just
authentic.
it's authentic.
Yeah.
He just goes on there and he's like, "This is what we made. It's a cute dish. I put this, and this," and he goes, "That's
Yeah,
it." He sends it off,
Love
and
it.
it's love it. It's great, and it's like it inspires you. You're like, he does just simple dishes that are executed perfectly. Everything's cooked right.
Yeah, for 500 people a day.
For 500 people a day. He's amazing. So, when did you first start cooking? Like as a kid?
Yeah, so I got a job in a restaurant, like just a high school job.
This is in Long Beach, California.
No, this is in Orange County, like outside
Okay.
of Long Beach. So I worked at this place called Hungry Hunter.
And how old are you? 16?
I'm 16, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm the expediter, which is funny because it's full circle. Because when you're the chef at the pass, you're called the expediter too. This job was a little different. So it was a pretty high volume steakhouse.
The Hungry Hunter?
The Hungry Hunter, it was
And what
called.
kind of food is that?
Steakhouse.
It's a steakhouse.
Yeah, it's a,
Like a chain or a
Southern
local?
California. It was like a chain of like 6, as I
Okay.
remember. But like the chef knew my dad, and he's like, if your son wants a job, blah 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 blah. So it was like my first day in a restaurant. So I stepped back in the kitchen, and like these guys were like fucking rough, man. Like so there was this dude.
And that's a lot for you to say because you've been in
these
some
guys are
shitholes.
fucking rough. And like this, I was 16, so rougher looked a little rougher to me back then. But there was this grill cook named Humberto. And Humberto was an ex-con. He'd been out, I think he did like 10 years, and he'd been out for a while. And he wore a black bandana, and he worked this humongous grill with his bare hands.
No spatula, no
nothing,
tongs.
no tongs,
Why?
nothing.
But why?
So he could feel the
The texture,
temperatures.
like the old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he like had, like his hands were just charcoal basically. And he would stand there and he would nail 300
it.
steaks every night. And I just would watch him and be like, someday I want to be like him.
Wait, he could literally say medium well, and he would know. He'd touch it and be
He
like,
knows.
it's done.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, I mean, I know too, but like he was working this entire grill with his bare hands.
No, but
Like,
that's
people
still
don't do that.
that's still a skill that takes time
Totally.
to develop. Yeah, I mean,
it's not that hard to be honest.
no, I know, but look, I know, but it takes time, right?
Yeah.
To be, I mean,
Repetition.
I'm pretty good at it now because I grill a lot at home, and I know it because I know how hot my grill is. I know the size of the steaks I get. I know the texture, so I put all that together. I'm like, I put it on for this long, and I figure that out. But if you just put me at your place, I mean, they'd be coming back every 10 minutes
Right,
because I'd be like,
Yeah, you'd be surprised how fast you can get it. When you cook 100 pieces of meat a day, you start to learn how to
Yeah,
do
I
it.
guess that's true.
Yeah.
So he's doing that. So are you?
So my job is to put the baked potatoes on the plate that need the baked potatoes. So I open the baked potato, I put it on the thing.
I love a fucking baked potato.
I do the sides for it. I put the kale on. I put the cocktail sauce on the shrimp. I fill up. We have these Lazy Susan salad bars, so I fill up the salads for that. And you know what? Like I fell in love with restaurants there.
So what made you fall in love with that? I mean, that's just seems very like formulaic.
Waitresses were very pretty, and I did not have to wake up to an alarm.
Oh, interesting.
So
But you're
that
doing
was
this
it.
while you're in high school?
I was in high school, yeah.
So you're doing this on the weekends mostly?
Yeah, I was like a baseball player, and I was in athletic, and so I would do it when I wasn't in season of something. I would do it full time.
Full time. So you're doing that. Do you ever do anything besides expediting there?
Oh, I got moved. So there was this cook named Tex from New Orleans, and Tex worked the appetizer station.
This is right out of Central Casting,
Oh,
by the way.
dude! Like if you could see this in my mind, like there was one day.
And what
when-
town is this in?
This is in El Toro Lake Forest.
Oh, Toro
California.
Lake Forest.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was this dishwasher, and I went to.
And by the way, are dishwashers as a whole generally sort of interesting? Like,
They're always amazing. I mean, I think they're amazing people for what they for what they do.
impossible
This guy
work.
was a fucker.
Right.
This guy was some of them are fuckers.
Really?
Right, yeah. So this guy was always like pinching waitresses' asses or whatever. But I went to take a bus tub back, and I'm clearing out the bus tub, and he's like, it's all Spanish, and I speak a little, but
You
it's
speak
like
kitchen Spanish.
Yeah. And whatever. I guess I said something, and he spit in my face.
what?
And I'm like, what the fuck? So I went and I told Tex, the line cook, I was like, that little motherfucker just spit in my face. He's like, well, you better go hit him. So I ran back there and I punched him right in the face, and we got in a fight, and the chef took us both outside, and I said, Ernesto spit in my fucking face. And he said, did you? And he said, yeah, and the chef fired him. So it's like, that's what I loved about a kitchen too.
Wow.
They're not all like that, but you said let's just add to Central Casting, so I just had to
No,
tell
but
one
that's
quick
right
story.
out of Central Casting.
16 years old, like it teaches you some things. that is not acceptable activity, by the way. Like, I would never, both would be fired in my restaurant.
Right.
You are gone, bye. This is not normal restaurant shit.
Right.
This is like Southern California, 1994 to whatever, and the world was a different place. But my job would be to make sure the soup was hot. I got tipped from
when
the
did you get
server.
moved?
Oh, so Tex, this one cook got arrested, of course, and so I got put on. It was like trial by like a battle time hire, right? Whatever they say. So I was on the station that like fired the stuffed mushrooms. I did the wings. I did the fryer. I worked the little oven, and like I just loved it.
You loved it. What did you love about it?
I loved like the control, the chaos, like being on the edge, like always kind of being on the edge. It's kind of like. I don't like that. The older I've gotten, the less I like it.
Of course.
Right. But I like the idea of there's this gratification about a great service or a job well done. And there's such a pound your ass out if you didn't do well. So you like knew right away if you were going to make it or not. And I loved like that intensity.
But the intensity could put you sometimes, as you guys say colloquially, in the weeds, right? That's the language for chefs. Like you're like fucking buried, you can't even see. You just you're in the weeds. And you don't know.
Yeah, when the tickets from the printer are touching the floor.
Yeah, you're in the weeds. Right. Yeah. But I mean, and then people are sitting out there spending $60, $70 a person.
Yeah, it's a goddamn hungry hunter.
A hungry hunter, right? No, but they're spending that, and you're like, holy fuck! Like I gotta produce here. I have to produce.
Yeah, that wasn't my mentality. My mentality was if I didn't get the food up in the window in the right order, Numberto was going to kick the fuck out of me.
Wow. But is that? But why did you chase that? Like, what makes you chase that? And other people be like, it's just your constitution. Like other people are like, I don't want that stress. That's crazy.
I like it. I still I still love service. I still like those things. I don't know. I just liked it.
Liked it. But you were sort of you were sort of a troubled kid a little bit, right?
Yeah, I was a punk rock kid.
Right.
Who, I'm from a very religious, like in an amazing way, family. I had a great upbringing.
Right.
My mom and dad were very much in love until my dad died. And I was sort of like, I was kind of locked down, by them. They were pretty strict.
Oh, so you rebelled against
that.
And
then at a certain point, I fell into a group of friends, and and it was young. It was like 14, right, or 15, whatever, and things changed for me then.
Yeah, right. So then there's a, and there's a, you've told me too. Like sometimes like chefs are an interesting bunch, right? There's sort of an oppositional quality to some chefs, right?
What do you mean by that?
Like their personality wise, you've always said chefs are weirdos, but like
there's always like
in a good way.
You sort of see like a lot of people who work in restaurants. You see sort of like on the edges of society. Like often.
Why
is
that?
From that? I don't know. I don't know, Julie. Why is it?
Yeah, but what you must have an opinion. You're like you've been doing this a long time.
Okay, so number one, you don't have to work in an office. I think that's good. I could never have that kind of job.
They're not judgmental.
I've always had a very strong work ethic.
Right.
I like the value of a hard-ass day's work.
Right.
And I like to create things with my hands.
Okay.
And I like intensity. And so all those things lended themselves. And I really like making people happy. Like I've always liked that. So even from the start, you're making people happy. You're in a business to make people happy.
You're in a happiness business.
And like if I wasn't like addicted to making people happy, then I wouldn't be a restaurant.
But also in restaurants too, I find that the people that work back there are not judgmental at all. They realize that people have their own struggles. Maybe you were a drug addict and you've recovered. Maybe you've been arrested for something, but you're back. And the kitchen seems to be a place where, like, look, what can you do? Can you produce? Can you show up on time? Could you be a good person?
Okay, not always, but like in every kitchen I've ever worked in, for the most, except one, it's truly a meritocracy. Like I don't care if you're an alien with 3 fucking heads.
Let me taste.
Not one.
Can you saute a piece of fish?
Are you not a prick?
Right.
And can you cook?
Right.
That's it. Yep.
Right. So it's a true meritocracy in that you don't care if you're transgender. You don't care. Nobody gives a fuck.
No.
And in
Nobody
fact,
cares.
But
the people who do, there are people in the business who would care. I'm not saying this is like cooks.
It's not universal.
Probably not. But like, I would never, and I don't know any other chef who would allow any of that bullshit in the kitchen.
Right.
Because truly, we need them, and we need a team. And like, without them, you're screwed. So who cares?
Well, that's what I would think, right?
Who cares what they're into?
All the chefs that I know would be like, look, I need to know if you can perform. I don't care anything about what your kinks are, what you like, who you date, how you live your life. Just, you got to come here on time and do a good job and put out the quality that we need. And that's all that I care about.
And historically, I will say, that there's definitely been a bias towards men in the business. There absolutely has, and women have been treated differently. I've only worked in one kitchen where the women are treated differently. Like the other kitchens were all very positive, and my mentor is female, so like I grew up, in that sort of like world. But it's great to see that gone now, essentially, and the rise of the female.
Oh, right, because the female chefs run tons of
fucking
They kill, right?
Yeah,
And
they kill.
and the kitchen. My guess is that it can be a place where there's where the sort of the old boys club sort of men that are chauvinists or making inappropriate comments but we do know that like in restaurants there is sort of an incestuous sort of a lot of the people date each other.
But they're not related, so it's not actually.
No. But incestuous.
You hope they're not.
They're not related. No, but like that happens because you're both working like this very tough job. You're exhausted, and you don't have time to like go out and do this stuff. So you're there, and you're like, oh, he seems all right.
Yeah, and also your hours are weird, so it's hard to date.
It's hard to date.
Right?
So
you're always working weekends. You get off late.
Right,
so
you get off late. Like, well, I want to get a drink, and next thing you know, you're pregnant. And
the pastry girls were always like nice to hang out with when I was a kid.
Was that where the hot thing was? The pastry girls.
Well, like they were female and they worked the same hours as me, or the servers.
Right, and they're right there, and the whole night you're seeing them.
Yeah,
in a stressful environment, and that's interesting.
It can be cute.
So how long is that? So Hungry Hunter goes on for how long?
I don't know.
All the rest of high school?
Yeah, like 3 years maybe.
And then do you go to a culinary school at that point?
No,
I know you have some training, formal training, right?
I went to culinary school in Chicago for less than a year, but at the time I was like working in one of the best restaurants in America.
Now what happens when you're 18? You graduate high school, where do you go?
I just was a fucker.
So, but when did you tighten it up and like go to culinary school?
22.
So the 18 to 22 is you're just drifting around, fucking around.
Drifting around, cooking here and there, like whatever, unfocused.
Unfocused, sorry.
Wavering.
I
went to Mexico for like 3 months. I was a fool.
Full fucker.
Yeah.
But then at 22,
my college life was not a college life.
Not a college life. So, but at 22, you say, okay, I got to get it together.
Let's focus.
And you moved to Chicago.
Started watching Emerald, like blah 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 blah.
Is that
blah.
one of your
one of them? Yeah, and
yeah?
Mario Batali, unfortunately, but at the time he was okay to watch. And inspired by that, and like always thinking fondly of my times, like working at other restaurants. I'd worked at other restaurants, just that. It was just like it was time to like figure out what I wanted to do, and so I'm like, all right, let me go to culinary school. I went to culinary school. There's this great chef in Chicago. I got to work with him.
Trotter?
Yeah, Charlie Trotter.
He's dead, right?
Yeah, and that was that. But I didn't finish culinary school because it was so stupid. It was a racket. So the school, I mean, like, okay, I don't like culinary school. I think it's bullshit. Like, I have so much respect for the CIA and for Johnson & Wales. Much respect for the people who work there, much respect for people who do what they do, and to the like culinary instructors around, awesome. But I hate the idea of a cook going to school for 4 years and graduating with $120,000 in debt to become a line cook for hopefully $18 an hour for the next 4 years. That math doesn't work. Either go to community college and do a local program. If you want to go to the CIA and Johnson & Wales, it's fine. But this is only my opinion. Don't waste your money. Go cook the best place you can and spend money on traveling and seeing things and work for free for the best people you can.
Interesting. I think Ashley talked about she went for a short period of time, but she did say that her best experience was just getting on the line and cooking.
Yeah.
I mean, you do learn some basics, right?
You learn basics. Listen, you learn, but do you learn $125,000 worth of shit? No, not when you can do it. Not when you can go into a restaurant and get paid to do it. Like, we'll all take you right now. Like, we'll take, like, I was prepping with a kid today who's 19 years old, who's only worked in one other restaurant, and that restaurant was the Talk You food truck. But guess what? Here we are. Come on in, Andrew. Let's have a nice time.
And you're working and chopping vegetables.
Yeah, right next to him. And here we go.
Wow. So you then go there. Did you move to Chicago by yourself?
Yeah.
So you get in a car and drive and?
Yeah. Loaded it up. Well, I moved with my friend from California, and my friend Gilbert moved with me.
Gilbert, is he a chef too?
No, Gilbert buys hotels now. Yeah.
He buys hotels.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So he goes there with you. You go there. You get an apartment together.
Yep.
And then you walk into Charlie Trotter.
No. My parents moved to Illinois when I was a junior in high school.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I finished my entire senior year. I lived by myself.
They kept the house.
No, I moved in with a friend.
Oh, interesting. Because they wanted you to finish in California. You were there.
I wanted to, right? And my intention was to stay in California. So I wasn't gonna you know.
Oh, interesting. So you did that. They're in Illinois, in Chicago.
Yep. So at a certain point, I'm like, let's go move in with my parents. Like, let's go see what this is. Let's get closer to a city. Blah 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 blah.
And this is because for your dad's job you moved.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But like, I couldn't afford to live in California on my it was I was grinding. So, that happened, and then I got a job. Went to school, job with Charlie Trotters, 6 months. Like 6 months of school. I still have to do my internship, so if you know anybody looking, let me know. But the school that I went to was Cordon Bleu, and Cordon Bleu got sued for their practices and is now closed.
So they closed. So you're Charlie Trotters. Are you interning there or a paid job?
Unpaid for the first month, and then paid.
And you're there for 6 months. Where do you go after that?
No, I was there for a little over a year.
And you're 22, 23?
Yeah, ish, yeah.
And then what's your first full time? Was it Charlie Trotter?
I mean, the first job I had when I went to Chicago was at the Hyatt Embassy. So the Hyatt, and I worked in restaurants before, so I knew what to expect. So I went to the Hyatt Embassy. I'm like, I just needed money, right? So I went to the embassy. I worked the grill station, and we did 1,400 covers that night. And I asked the sous chef at one time what I should do with all the papers that I tore off the hamburger, and he's like, just drop them on the floor. And that night I knew that it wasn't for me. So I went around to a couple places, and to get into Trotter, you gotta work. So you gotta show up at the back door. You gotta wait, whatever. So yeah, I got in there, but I had other stupid.
But that was your
jobs
first fine dining experience.
I mean, I worked some fine dining.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Yeah, but that was a different world.
But Charlie Trotter's the highest level of
at that time.
At the time, right? I mean, that's one of the best. What was the name of his place?
Charlie
Trotters, right?
Yeah.
It was no, right. But that's right. But it was one of the best restaurants in the country.
Yeah, it was the first restaurant in the United States that did a tasting menu.
Right. I mean, it was legendary, right? I mean, it was. So you do that, and then you still stay in Chicago?
No, Ritz-Carlton. So then I went. I moved to the Ritz-Carlton Water Tower place. I worked for two amazing chefs, Sarah Stegner and George Boombaris. The dining room at the Ritz-Carlton, was always the third ranked restaurant in Chicago for a very long time. If it were Michelin rated right now, I guarantee you it would have been 2-star. We got the highest Zagat rating in America while I was there. Not my doing. I was her bitch. But Sarah Stegner, who's the chef there, who won 2 James Beard Awards in the old days before they ever gave them to females, those dicks. Not the James Beard House, but the industry as a whole. She won 2 of them. So. She was my mentor, and so yeah, it was just awesome.
So then that's where you. So you're a sous there, a line chef.
Moving my way up, and the highest I got was the meat cook, but the meat cook in the dining room was essentially that was a big fucking deal.
Have you ever done saucier?
Yeah, that was saucier.
Oh, that's what that is. Because I was watching a documentary or something with Alan Repair at Bernardin or whatever it was, and they talk about the saucier is the artist. It's the most important job there.
Depends on the restaurant.
Well, with that place though, a place like that, they have 7 to 12 different sauces going.
At this place, that's how it was.
Right.
So at this place we had a 52 cheeses on the cheese cart, and my first job there was garmage. So one of my first jobs was every day I had to load the cheese cart. So I had the cheeses that I wrapped from the night before, 52 of them. I had to know what they were without a tag. I had to taste them, take a little wedge, taste them to make sure they were all right, not ammoniated, recut them, and then place them all on the cheese cart, and then make all the garnishes for it. So before service had even started, I had taken 52 bites of French unpasteurized cheese, and I got the shits so
many times
for the first 3 weeks. They call it the French flu. They're like, oh, Tyler, how was your night? How was your morning this morning? I'm like, fuck you guys. Bloated the entire time.
Okay, it gives you gas.
Yeah,
it gives you diarrhea.
I learned to start spitting it out, but still at that point, you'd already taken in a lot of bacteria. Yeah, but my body got used to it, and here we are.
52 pieces.
52 cheeses every day.
Oh my god, you must have been doubled over.
Oh, it was the worst. It took me so long to do.
And then you get used to it?
Yeah, then you get used to it. Just like anything else,
Oh my gosh. And then at some point you get married.
Yep.
You have some kids, and you're still in Chicago at that time, right? And then you make your way to Vermont.
Yep. And then I actually went with Sarah Stegner and George Boombaris to open their restaurant. They left the Ritz after 25 years of being there. And then I went with them to open their restaurant in Northbrook, Illinois, which is just north of the city. I was there for a little over a year and a half. It was busy as hell, a little more casual, but fun. And then I needed to make money because I had a kid and it was tough, and I didn't have insurance there or anything, and I hurt myself and blah, blah, blah. So I got a job in Vermont, for a hotel. And I always loved hotels. I loved working at the Ritz. It was great. And I got a job as a sous chef at the hotel. the Equinox in Manchester.
Oh, it's a great place.
It's beautiful. Loved Vermont, loved all that, and I had, my wife at the time was down to like move, which looking back, what an angel.
Right.
So I worked there for a while. I worked my way up and became executive chef there. It was my first chef job. I don't know why they gave it to me, because I was like, I don't know, 30 years old probably. This was a $17 million food and beverage operation.
Wow.
14 million, but 3 outlets, 3 different restaurants, room service, banquets, all that shit. And I'm just like, woof. But having worked for George and Sarah, who are the most amazing hotel chefs, I'd been exposed to all that at the Ritz in Chicago. So I had like seen a lot of it. I'd seen room service. I'd worked banquets. I'd like done all of these things. Yeah. So so that was a fake it till you make it situation. But they're the ones who gave me the fucking job.
You're like, all right.
I didn't tell them any lies when I was interviewed. So they gave me the job. It went pretty well. The company I worked for was like called Rock Resorts, and they sort of needed somebody to be more of a traveling sort of like open new stuff for them, whatever. So I went to moved to Vail, Colorado, and I opened this new 5-star hotel at the base of Vail Mountain called Arabelle. My office, I'm a snowboarder. My office was 100 yards from the gondola at Vail, so that was pretty sweet. And I got to be a part of the opening there, the concept of the restaurant, and that was great. And I lived there for like a year and a half. Then they sent me to St. Lucia. I worked at a hotel in St. Lucia for a few months, and then
And then you end up in Connecticut, right?
And then I was like going to go to another place, and I had kids, and I was like, listen, this is I gotta go. So I asked one of my old chefs. I said, hey, do you know anybody hiring? And she said, actually, like Jacques Pepin's friend is looking for somebody in Connecticut, because I like New England, right? I like living in Vermont, and my ex-wife liked it too, and we wanted to be in New England. So interviewed at this little rinky-dink sort of like but beautiful and did a tasting for Jacques and his friends and got the job, and here we are. But it was going from well into a 6-figure salary to like half of that,
right?
But I got to cook again, right? Because at the end of my stage with the hotel company, which was like 4 years or 5 years, I was like the food and beverage director and the chef. So I had 220 employees. I was constantly in meetings. I was dealing with HR. I was like, and I don't know,
You want to cook?
Well, yeah. So yeah.
So right. So I remember. So I met you at the Copper Beach Inn. You're the chef. Small little place, lovely. And I'll never forget this. So I remember I took Sarah there for like a birthday dinner or something. She'll remember the exact thing, but it was a birthday dinner. And the server, somebody I'm still in touch with, is Natasha. Remember Natasha?
Yep, sure do.
She's great. She's got a little girl now, and she's great. But she was the waitress. And so we were just like, and we went in, it was dead.
We had a great team there.
It was like a Tuesday. It was dead. We were like the only ones there. And the food comes out, and I'm like,
why did you go there?
I don't know. I like good food. I was researching.
You had heard about it or
something. I'm like, this was like a neat place. Looks quaint, a cool menu. We just went there, like something different, right? Half-hour drive, 35-minute drive from home. Like, let's go somewhere out of the norm, because we've been to all the other places. You want to try some new stuff. And you know me, I'll drive for food, right? I'll fly for food.
Yeah.
So we go there. I'll never forget it. And there was maybe 1 or 2 other people in the restaurant. And I eat it. And I remember getting, it's still my favorite thing that you've ever made. It's so simple, is the chicken you made there with the, just the skin on it. Just a very simple chicken. And you have a salad with chunks of cheddar in it. I still remember it. Like it's legendary. And we're just eating the food, and I said to Natasha, and I said, Natasha, who the fuck is making this food? It's so delicious. Can I meet the chef? She's like, all right, it's Tyler. So you came out, and you were like, hey, what's up? And you sat down. I'm like, oh my God, your food is great. We love your food. And you gave me your card. And you said, next time you come in, send me an email.
I had cards. I love it.
You had a card. Yeah. Give me a card. I said, oh my God, I will. So, I like making connections, So I emailed you. I said, Sarah, let's go back in a week, because I emailed you. I said, hey, I'm coming in. You're like, great. And then you came out, and then you're like, I want to give you some more stuff. Like, so because you saw the how much I love food. Yeah. So you're like, let me try this. You brought this out, and then I think I forgot how, I don't know, our friendship advanced, but I'm like, I'm a lawyer, and you said you were looking at, you were looking at opportunities, like you wanted to get your own thing, and then ultimately, we started hanging out. We went to Per Se together. Remember that night?
Did.
With the,
how could I forget?
With the limo, you got a limo, and I actually got to crash at the Copper Beach, which was great. And then I started coming on New Year's Eve, which was so great, New Year's Eve. And then I did firm dinners there, if you remember. I rented out a room.
Yeah.
It was great. It was such a great hookup. And then we went to, and then you said, listen, I have this opportunity to this, I'm looking up a place up your way, like with Millwrights. Remember, it was just a mill, and come with me, so I can go with you. And we looked at it, and then we worked on that whole deal together, and the rest is history.
Yeah, if it weren't for you, there might not be Millwrights.
Oh, come on.
Like truly, like you were so supportive. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you get let's do this, and this. You need a realtor. You know, you told me all these things.
Well, I helped you with it because you're just a chef, right? I said, this is what you need to do.
How do I put it together?
Yeah, we
what
put
do
it
I do?
together. Yeah, we drafted the operating agreements.
Yeah.
We did all that stuff. And I said, look, listen, you don't have any money for this stuff. I said, just keep me fed. And I was happy with that. And as a friend, and we have a lifelong friendship now. So I'm very happy with that because you have all these different things going. But what do you think what do you think makes like a so there's different types of chefs, obviously, right? You can be a chef at Red Robin, let's say, right, or a line cook or whatever they do there, and then at Millwright's, right, it's at a very different level. It's fine dining. It's a high level. At the high level, what do you think makes a good chef? Like, what do you think of the qualities like what do you think that Ashley has? Like, what are the qualities that she has, or anybody that would do that job have to have in order to be that, put that quality out?
Attention to detail and work ethic.
Two most important things.
Two most important things. Yep.
So, but to me, those things can't be learned.
No, I mean, you can take somebody who has like those traits and try to get more out of them.
Okay, right. But you have to have an underlying base that's strong on that.
Yeah,
right?
you don't turn a lazy person into a hard worker.
Right. It's either, and they have that by a certain age or they don't.
Yeah, I mean, I like to say people can change too, but like, maybe
they can, but
you do see there's a certain fire.
But there's certain things that are in my view constitutional to who you are.
Yeah.
That maybe somebody's depressed and they can when they're not depressed they'll feel better and they want to work more. I get that. But you're either but you're either somebody that like, oh my God, that guy always shows up to work. He works hard, and when he does work, doesn't complain about it, and does and does. Takes direction well, is coachable. Right. But
because like running a restaurant and down to being a cook is like, it's always, you have to be good and you have to be fast, right? And like, if I have all the time in the world, I can cook you better food than I can on a night where there's 400 people in the restaurant, right? If it's me and you at your house, I can cook you better food than I can for 400 people at the restaurant. So the idea is to figure out how to make it as close as possible from the best you can do to serving all of that.
Because you're limited on time.
There's always a time versus perfection thing. Because like Gordon Ramsay always says that he's never put out a dish that was perfect. That's a crock of shit. Like, I've never put out a dish that I thought was perfect. Like, I hate that. I love Gordon Ramsay. I think he's great.
Well, Ruby said to me, my middle one said to me, well, Daddy, there shouldn't be a word perfect because nothing's perfect.
I love the word, but it's simply an achievement to try to get.
Say that. So interesting. So attention to detail and work ethic.
Rich.
Oh,
You're
I'm
pretty
perfect.
close.
I try to be. I aspire to be perfect, but I fall short. What are your like? So obviously you've traveled a lot of places, and you even take. I saw you were just in Charleston, which is great. Did you make it to Southbound or anything? Ryan and Kellyanne's place?
No, I didn't. It was like my birthday, so it was like fully handled already. So yeah.
Next time you got to go.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go because they have the.
I'll go with you.
Those two, we should go because I want to just go on a weekend because they have that new place that's the price fix.
Yeah.
And it's sold out forever.
Awesome.
And then they have Southbound, and they're like two of the best places in Charleston now. You know those two guys? They're incredible.
They're great.
Like they're just
fantastic.
They're gypsies, right? They just like I text with them all the time. Like, guys, they finally are getting away for 2 weeks because they're making some money for once in their life, which is good. And they're in Italy now.
Good for them.
Which is great. And I said, you're gonna love Italy because as a chef, it's the best place to visit in my view. So yeah, I'll tell you when it's going to be because it's going to be this summer. I want to go for a weekend and just go eat food.
It's so easy to get there too.
Oh yeah, the direct flight now and
nothing inspires you quite like going to other cities and like seeing things. Like I love Connecticut and I think the food scene is very good here. Like I think it's getting better and very good and there's some very good places around. But let's be honest, like New York City and Boston and these cities, like there's
more people.
There's so much great stuff in a small area. You could go do a bunch of things. So it's good to see like different regions of the country and world,
and how they do it.
and see how they do it.
And how they do it. I love that. I love going there and say we're gonna need a new place and we should let's go to Charleston because Rex wants to go too and he wants to go to. I've been to Southbound. But that's the place that has no gas in it. It's all wood fired.
That's awesome.
They don't even have one gas burner.
Yeah.
And then there are other places. So. Let's talk about as we wind down. What are your places? Where do you like to go eat? Like, what is your favorite fast food?
My favorite fast food, like
what's
fast food?
Fast food
like Taco Bell,
McDonald's.
Shake Shack.
Shake Shack.
Yeah.
Okay. I find the fries too salty.
Yeah, of course you do.
I do.
I find them fine.
You do?
Yeah, it's like I think they're good. Yeah.
right.
It's like I didn't like them when they went to the fresh. I don't eat fast food very much.
Okay.
I'm like trying to be really good right
I
now.
know.
But like my daughter loves Shake Shack, and like so I'll just like tag onto that. But I think like I love the burger. I
Do
think
you
it's
think the
good.
Shake Shack burger is better than the Five Guys burger?
No.
No, right.
No, but I like all the other things at Shake Shack.
All right.
I like all the. I really do like. I don't like the fucking homemade fries. Like I think they're soggy. Like I love In-N-Out. It's my favorite, but the fries are gross. The
fries are gross.
Like you got to eat your burger over the fries and
Yes.
have all the
Juices
stuff from
come
your
down.
juices
You're
drip
right.
in.
You're dead
and
right
then
on
you
that.
put the peppers on and then you eat it.
I get the peppers.
But like to be honest with you, like yeah, I mean. I like the whole rounded experience of Shake Shack.
Oh, you like Shake Shack?
I think
Now,
it's good.
if
Danny
you-
Meyer's eating my restaurant tomorrow.
Really? In Millwright?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Maybe I can't talk about this on a podcast.
Why? You don't have an NDA.
Yeah, it's probably not. No,
Is he
so
just-
like
why is he here?
he's here to do a commencement speech.
Oh,
yeah.
So he called you?
No, he like just made a
Just
reservation.
made a reservation. You're like, what the
Like
fuck?
I know, I met it. Like I met him, but I can't like text Danny Meyer.
No, but you have like a thing that like alerts you, like it says Danny
no,
Meyer.
no. But when you're going through your reservations,
And but how do you know it's him? You checked the number and then compared it to the number you had?
No, it's because.
Oh my god, that's fucked up.
It's
Dude, by the way, the craziest story I've ever had at Millwright's, there's a guy, I'm there at Easter dinner one night, right? With my mom and everyone. A guy I'm looking over down the like literally across the like this close to me, right? He's in the next table over. The guy looks at me, I make eye contact, and I smile at him, right? And this guy smiles at me. I'm like, what the fuck do I know this guy from? I'm like, the guy made like a nice smile. You're like, oh hi, like acknowledgement, whatever. So I leave, and I can
probably hitting on you.
No. I can wring AJ's fucking neck over this story, right? So my brain is like, what do I know this guy from, right? So AJ, I'm driving home. AJ calls me. He got a break. It was slowed down. He goes, you know who you were sitting right next to? No, who? He goes, oh, Chief Justice John Roberts. I said, motherfucker, you couldn't. This is the leader of my profession, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, right? He's sitting. And of course, my brain couldn't say why.
And you guys are just sitting there smiling at each other.
Because my brain was like, it can't be the Chief Justice sitting next to me in Simsbury. But it turns out his daughter went to Westminster in Simsbury, and she'd come up with his wife, who's a lawyer as well and a recruiter, and they had a guy, a marshal, off to the side, just eating their U.S. Marshal to protect him. And like I could have like gotten a picture with the guy, sent him a piece of some champagne. He's like the leader of my profession, and AJ's like, I'm like, oh my god, I'm sitting right next to the guy, so I could have fucking killed him. But anyhow, like, so it shows up.
So yeah, I can't find it, but when you look at the reservation, like Danny Meyer has something special. I don't know why, but like his picture comes up.
Oh, because maybe because of Resi or somebody.
I think no, it's Open Table. It
Open Table.
I don't know, but he's like one of the like. Okay, here's a fun story. Do we have time?
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did this event. I worked with Share a Strength a lot, right? Like in childhood hunger or whatever. So there's this big or whatever.
No,
it's a
yeah,
great. So there's this event in New York, and they asked me to come do it. And this style of event is you are cooking at a table with an electric oven and induction burner for 10 people in front of you.
You did this in Simsbury.
Yeah, I did it
And
in
it's one of the
Simsbury.
best events you've ever done.
And it was fun, right?
You got to do it again. Can you do it again?
I might. Yeah, we might.
I'll buy a table.
Okay.
I really, I'll give you, our firm will buy a table.
That was a good event.
I was with Chef Eddie, was my table. You
Was
put me
he?
at
That's
Chef
awesome.
Eddie's? No, not Kristen.
Yeah, Chris.
Chris Eddie.
Yeah, Winvion.
To this day, it was like, what amazing, because you
He's
got
so
10
good.
people cooking, this
Yeah.
one guy cooking for 10 people.
So the key to these things is you have no idea who's going to be at your table. So like everybody is just sort of randomly given the table they go to. So we walk in for this event. I'm this chef, like it's all New York City chefs and like pretty big names. And I walk in and I'm like, thank you, where do I go? And it's like me, Ashley, and Niles, and we're like setting up. And they're like, oh, just so you know, by the way, Danny Meyer's sitting at your table tonight. I'm like, motherfucker.
Right.
Like, he's
Up
like
the pressure.
Yeah, he's like, he is a very big deal to me.
Yeah.
So cooked for him, it went well. He thanked me for everything. And then they were auctioning off, doing the auction afterwards. So it's like the auction item was me and Brooke Williamson from Top Chef doing a brunch at your house for 50 people. So we would come do it, whatever. Danny Meyer bought it for like $22,000. And at the end of it, I was like, oh, thank you for getting, I took a picture with him and I'm like, thank you for getting the thing or whatever. And he's like, oh, enjoy your day off, chef. So he bought it knowing that he would never use it.
Wow, you just gave 22 grand.
Yeah.
Wow, what
And
a
then
nice
didn't
story.
expect, because I would have loved to do it. I was honestly going to
Yeah,
be
you're like, I go to some like big mansion on the water.
don't call it off.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
I
want
want
to
to be
do
there.
Danny Meyer's brunch.
You
Like,
want
what
the
fuck?
selfie like at the water and all that.
That's awesome.
So it shows up on there with his picture.
His picture, yeah.
I bet you Open Table puts VIPs to.
I mean, he's the ultimate
VIP?
hospitality MVP, yeah, or VIP. Yeah.
So he's coming.
Yeah.
And are you going to be there for that? I hope.
Yeah, but I'm being a guest chef dinner upstairs. But it's like I'm not there offering for service. Ashley's got it.
And
The team's
is he coming with a bunch of people? Or?
two top?
Wow. Oh man, is he doing
it's cute.
tasting?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Probably not.
You're just gonna order something.
I know, but it's like we've been fortunate to cook for cool people. This one's like up there.
Right? Maybe he remembers you.
Maybe. You never know.
Well, all right. So fast food, you don't eat a lot of it. When you did eat at McDonald's, or if you did go to McDonald's now, what would be your order?
The ice cream.
Oh, that fucking ice cream.
I think the soft serve is the most delicious thing.
It's the most delicious thing. Now, I was on the highway in 90 in the Mass Pike about 3 years ago, and I'm like, I want a cone. And I pulled up to the thing. I said, vanilla cone. I said, I'd like a cone, please. And she goes, chocolate or vanilla? I said, what? They were trying to like test the chocolate out.
Really?
They did. And I called my friend who gets, my friend Ken, you probably met him before. Ken eats a McDonald's cone every day.
Was the chocolate good?
Yes.
It was. Of
and
course
I'm
it was.
very particular. I'm a Carvel guy. I was raised on Carvel and Stu Leonard's. Very delicious ice cream. It was very good. That vanilla ice cream to me, if you could have that in your restaurant.
Quintessential. And the meltability is perfect too.
The best thing about the ice cream, I taught Rex this, is you eat the cone and then it gets to the bottom and that last bite with that soggy thing. That's
the key to like a good food experience is like leave them wanting more. It's like the bottom of a drumstick.
Yes,
a little chocolate filled. It's like,
it.
Holy shit, I want another one.
But I said to my son, and this is the ultimate love, I said to him, I'm eating it, and I say, Rex, I will give you this last bite. That's how much I love you. And he knows it.
Nice.
But he knows it
What
because
a dad.
he ate that and he says, you know what? I see your love.
Right.
I see your love in that cone because to give that up, that juicy, soggy bite which is the best bite of the whole thing, to sacrifice that for your child.
It's so nice.
I mean,
and all your drools in there and all that. It's like father to son. Here you go.
But so you get the ice cream, but what about the meal? Like, what would you get? Like, are you like
a Big Mac?
Big Mac.
Yeah,
right. I love
Big Mac fries.
Big Mac.
Coca-Cola.
The Coke is better with the thicker straw.
The Coke is better at McDonald's because it's the only place in the country where they get it in
stainless steel, and it's cold. Yeah. It slaps.
It's perfect.
What about around here? Where does Tyler go to eat? Like, if you had your druthers and you want to go out, like, where do you go to eat?
Okay, you're gonna make me miss somebody here.
No, of course.
You're gonna make me miss somebody.
All right, but whatever.
Here.
Fuck them.
So I live in the center now, near the center. Obviously, I love Brico. Like Les Misette is awesome.
Oh, that's a good place.
I like Zephyrs. I like Sparrow. I like lots. I like Treva.
They're all good.
I mean, I like Aver too. Yeah, they're good.
Mike at
we're surrounded by good restaurants.
At Aver? I mean, at Treva?
No.
Okay, he's the chef.
Oh yeah.
So you like all the center restaurants?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were just talking about
arugula.
here.
I gotta get you in there.
Oh, I love arugula too.
You've been there.
Arugula's dope. It's so cute.
It's so cute.
It's like that. I mean, why I live 2 blocks away is because of that.
No, it's so good. There's so many good food here.
And Zohara's fucking so good.
How about New Haven?
Union Kitchen.
Oh,
is
Union.
awesome.
I haven't been there in a while.
New Haven, Emily's restaurants are awesome. That's Tavern and the Oyster one.
Fairhaven Oyster Company.
Her restaurants are awesome, and then Joya.
Oh, I haven't been there.
Oh, you have to go.
It's good?
It's so good. And it's on Worcester Street.
Oh, yeah,
it's
that's new. I haven't been there. I know him.
Yeah,
he grew up in West Haven.
Text me when you want to go. It's fantastic, dude.
Right.
Yeah, and their chef worked for a friend of mine for a long time.
Now, we can also agree. Now, I gave you one of my proudest moments.
Also, what's that Indian restaurant in New Haven that's really good? Like the kind of like hipster Indian restaurant.
No, the hot place. Oh, everything's fucking so hot.
I like that place.
Sarkoon?
Close.
Sarkoon?
Close.
Look it up. It's Shark. It's right next to the Yale, the store.
Yeah, delish.
Right in the alley. That place is fantastic.
Hachiroku's really good.
Hachiroko.
Yeah.
I remember.
I could go on and on.
I remember
Union League is still dope.
Union League is very good. I gave you your first New Haven pizza experience, if you remember.
Did.
I sent you to the and you agree with me still that Sally's is the best of them all.
I do.
It's right. I mean, there's just no. I mean, look. It's like you like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. They're both Italian sports cars. They're both excellent cars, but they're both different, right? So you could get a good pizza.
No, Ferrari. I feel like Ferraris are way better than Lambos.
I do feel they're tighter. I feel like
it's just.
I think that the people that drive Lambos also are sort of a different.
Okay, I'm not saying that. I mean, if I had the money, I would be a Ferrari, not a Lambo. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah, right. It's just a little different. But and shout out to our friend Chris who has a Lambo. So he's. But in terms of the Sally's,
Chris just got a shout out on a podcast because he owns a Lambo.
Yeah, he does.
See,
he has an orange Lambo.
Yeah, it's cute.
It's cute, but it's like I like a nice tight red Ferrari. I think it sounds better. I don't know.
Yeah, that they're I mean,
but in terms of Sally's though, right? And even with their expansion in different places, the combination of that tangy sauce that they use and the char and it just
So, I mean, you took me to my absolute favorite pizza I've ever had is the clam at Zupardi's. And you took me there.
Oh, yeah, I took you there. That's right. Yeah, West Haven. Yeah, I grew up.
You took me there. So, like, the New Haven top ones, like, I like Sally's, but I also love Zupardi's. And I've never been to, like, Ernie's or, like...
Ernie's is good. Roseland.
And I also love Pepe's Clam. I do. I love Pepe's Clam.
That's
It's
good.
fucking
But
so
the sausage and onions at prison parties too. That's the really good one.
Yeah,
too. We had that.
that's a
That's
good one.
really
Yeah.
good pie. That's
really
good.
good.
So you like that. And then around here, obviously, we have some good pizza here too.
We
I
do.
mean, Zephyrs is
Yeah.
great. Luna's good. I like those. I also am a big fan of Little City.
Love Little City.
The Little City pizza, you know the
Naples,
one?
too, yeah.
The Naples is great too, but the Little City has this. They do. They load it first with like a garlic paste, and they have melted leeks,
Oh, yeah, I've
chicken,
had that.
and fontina.
Yeah, it's so good.
I mean, what else do you need?
Little City is family meal at Millwright's like every other month.
Right, and then, but I am told now. So one of the things I get on Dante about at Zephyrs is I like his pizza, but I was a New Haven guy. It's a little too thick for me, and that's just a preference. It's delicious pizza, but he has a New Haven style off menu. You can ask for it.
Does he really?
Yes, and I think his pizza New Haven style would blow me out of the water because I like his pizza now. But
I
I'm
like
always
the
like,
New York too.
You like the New York style. It's just a
because,
preference.
I mean, so the way Dante makes dough, like it's gonna be different on different day. It's like so. This is gonna sound like I'm bashing Dante, but like what I'm saying is like he's amazing at what he does.
Oh, yeah.
And so your fermentation, like if it's not perfectly slow, and you see how small Dante's place is. To me, Dante's putting out some of the best pizza in America when it's on.
Oh,
When
it's
like,
delicious.
Like, and I've never had it off, but I've heard people say that. One person told me that the crust was chewy. Dante's crust, I've never had it chewy, and if you had it chewy, maybe you weren't there on the right day. You know, and I'm not saying there's inconsistencies there.
No.
But like when he's nailing it,
yeah.
to me, and I just love the New York. I
like the New York style?
I like the New. It's not New Haven, New York, not better. Like I feel like they're both right there. But like when you're doing delicious New York style, I like that too.
You like that too. And then any new, as we wrap down, any new trends you're seeing in fine dining or dining in general that are interesting to you that aren't just sort of flash in the pan that you think are going to become more accepted or consistent, in the dining scene?
Yeah, I mean, I keep up on all of that. I go to lots of restaurants. I do all of that, but I'm not like a trend guy.
Right.
But like, I think the world needs to go a little bit more towards focus of protein on the plate and more about vegetables and grains. From a sustainability standpoint, I think like I'm one of those who believes maybe a little less meat would be better. I'm not anti-meat. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
And I'm about to do barbecue all summer, so I'm a total poser when it comes to that.
Right.
But like, I also think vegetables can be delicious.
Right. And so just so everybody knows what you're doing for the summer, obviously you're Millwrights, you have Or Hill and Swift, and then Taku's coming back.
Taku's coming back. It's going to come back, so it's going to come back as a pop-up. So I decided that I only want to do it on the days I really want to do it.
Right.
So I'm doing it Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and it's going to be called Taku Cookout, and it's whatever the hell I want to do that week.
At Millwrights.
At Millwrights.
At that little like.
So it's basically like, so I have this amazing setup now. And so I'm just going to stand out there and smoke meats and grill for.
Are you going to make like smash burgers one day or?
Maybe, probably not smash burger, but different. Like, so the first menu is like, going to be ribs, a sausage we make, pulled pork, a brisket, and then 3 tacos or 4 tacos, and then sides. That's it. And then I'm going to have my friends come and do like guest spots. The idea is that what would happen if you came to my house and just we ate outside.
We ate outside, right? And final thing, I just have to tell you, I had one of the best hamburgers I've ever had in my life, and you know where it was?
Where was it?
Talcott Mountain Collective inside.
Are you kidding?
From their bar inside.
I mean, I'm not like shocked by
No,
that.
but I was shocked too.
Yeah.
I went there for like Sarah dragged me out to some Beatles cover band.
Place is cool.
It's cool, but the trucks were gone, and I went in there and I'm like fucking starving, and I'm like, what am I gonna? I couldn't hear. I'm like an old man. I'm like loud. I'm like, I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm fucking hungry, so I order. I'm like, they have a list. They have all this bratwurst, like all this authentic German bratwurst and German beers, very cool. And they have a thing of smash burger. I'm like, all right. Guy brings me a smash burger, nothing on it, and they have chips on the side, not fries. It was one of the top 5 burgers I've had in my life.
Wow. And I say the reason I said, "Are you kidding me?" is because I've seen their kitchen. So there's a charity that is
it's
there,
like a little
Healing
tiny-
Meals, that helps with that shares their kitchen or has all of their kitchen. So they have the smallest little kitchen space ever. So to make a smash burger is pretty impressive.
I'm telling you, you know me, I don't take this stuff lightly. This was fantastic.
I gotta go have it.
It was just so crusty, and they caramelized the onions into it just
Love
right.
it.
They had these like cool ridged pickles on it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a little bit of ketchup just for some sweetness, but it was just the bun just hit right. They buttered it just right. I mean, everything just came. I was like, "Oh my God, where is this burger?" And I'm like, I like good burgers.
Did the juice drip down your arm?
No, I didn't do it.
That's
No,
a test,
it wasn't that. I don't like a big burger like that.
Yeah.
I hate it when you go on this. You go to the ocean, one of these
home
places, and you just get it. And you're like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
And I bring my son who loves burgers, and he's just
If
like,
you can't fit it in your mouth,
I'm like a fucking cobra
yeah.
trying to dislocate my jaw to like eat the egg, the ostrich egg.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want this. I want a thing burger. So anyhow, we could talk about this all day. Thank you for coming in. I know
you for having
your
me.
time is precious. We both love food, and you're a dear friend of mine, and I always love texting you. And you're also the only guy I can send the most inappropriate shit to. There's 2 people in the world I can send that to. You're one of them. So, yeah.
Well, I'm honored, and
And you back to me.
and a little, not
little
as much. You're intense.
No, I'm intense. I send you some bad stuff.
But-
No, but no one's allowed to ever see that. You can't like tell anybody. Like you
And
could like.
if you do, you can talk to my attorney.
Talk to my attorney. No, because I send you some shit, and I know, like, because there's a weird side. Like, I like the occult and kind of weird stuff, and I get some weird shit. And I'm like, Tyler will not be judgmental. He's gonna laugh at it, and like he can understand it, and he's cool with it. Because I said to everyone else, you're like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
why would you ever send that to me? I'm like, no, Tyler's cool with it.
Whenever I see a text from Rich, I make sure
No one's there.
I open it up and
Yeah, you don't want to open it in the car and have it read it, and then your
Yeah.
girlfriend's gonna be like, "Who the fuck is this dude?"
this guy.
Anyhow, thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank
All right,
you.
Take care.
Bye.